welcome again to episode number 7. My name's Christian Hoyle, and this is still a podcast with no name, but I haven't delivered it yet. But by the time you get it, it will have a name. So I am a coach, I am an entrepreneur, I'm a teacher, I'm a parent, and I'm a boyfriend. And I'm here for you all to let you know that about, this is the unedit thing, let you know about, I'm getting to this point of admitting defeat in something. It's not such defeat, I'm going to admit that I was wrong. And I think that's one of the best skills that you'll ever get in your life, is sometimes, no matter how hard you try, no matter how well you do, no matter what efforts you put in, you'll still find that you're wrong. You know, I've recorded this podcast as my dishwasher is going so loud. In fact, I'm going to stop it. But you've got to admit when you're wrong. So in this instance, I'm wrong. So I coach people about mindset. I coach people about keeping calm. I coach people about... I've read the book The Chimp Paradox a lot of years ago, and I found that, especially for men, that was so apparent because the chimp is an issue for us. And just this week, I saw mine. And he was frustrated, and he gets upset about things, and he just takes things the wrong way. And when he's out, and he's performing at his best, he's creating the show that he does, he's creating a bit of a lack of feeling, feeling uncomfortable, definitely frustration. That's when he works his magic. And what he does, he sprinkles dust into your life that at that time you think, yes, this is the right thing to do. I'm in the right. This is what deserves to happen because this shouldn't be happening to me. Does that resonate with you? Well, it did it this week, and I'm here to admit that I was wrong. And also in that, though, it made me think about the butterfly effect in life, that everything has a ripple that creates other things to happen. And in this instance, I created a ripple. My chimp came out, we had a problem, then we had to deal with it, we had to chat through it. But also when you find out about, my chimp's only ever involved through love, through loving someone. Because everyone, honestly, I meet so many people in my life and no one will ever bother me. You'll never get in here, But if I love you, that's when it's almost like I crush my armour open and I let people in. And when I let people in, I let them to see that maybe I'm not perfect. And I always do say that. I'm not perfect. But I do have a philosophy there. If I'm in the wrong, I'll always apologise. The power of saying sorry, I've found out in later life, is so important because it's not for the person you're saying it to, it's for you. Because when you say sorry, you forgive yourself and it feels so much better. So the power of that, and just being honest with yourself and realising that you do make mistakes, but when you do, the butterfly effect is happening in its course. Because in this instance, it produced some good. Like sometimes you hit the bottom of a well in a situation, and from that bottom of the well you can come out of it, and you can come out of it because there ain't any worse that can go on at that moment. So if you're at a stage in your life where you think anything's going to end you and you're at the bottom of the well, then maybe look in the mirror now and think, actually, is this the worst scenario or the best? Because A, it can't get any worse, and B, the only way up now is up. And when you look back in your life, I've said this repeatedly, I know I have, but all the mistakes that happened before were about the good things that happen in front of you, and you don't quite see that. And I have a thing where I'm doing coaching, and I was actually coaching last night and telling someone about this, and I failed. And I always tell everyone that I fail, and I'm dead honest. When I coach people, I'm just totally honest about me, because I think, and what this podcast is about, is when I'm honest about me, about who I am, about what I do, the mistakes I make, the good things, you can see it within you that, them things that you do and whatnot, that they're normal. And I notice it with my coaching. As soon as I share this utter honesty, which I have on here, I get it back. So last night I was teaching about mind the gap. So mind the gap is creating a gap between between reaction and response. The response that when someone says something to me, if I'm annoyed by it, or I don't like it, or I want to say something chimpy, or I want to say something negative, I create a little bit of a gap between the response to them, so that what they say to me, there's a gap, and then it's my reaction to that gap. And when I create a gap, a moment of time, which is created by multiple things, a walk, ultimately, a walk's the best thing, but you can't always do that. But a bit of doing something in the house, a bit of phone call, just going to the toilet, it can be a 1 minute gap. In that 1 minute, or 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, or whatever you choose to be, is the time that you get to be you. Instead of being your emotional response to whatever that thing was, like me the other day, then you've got time. I didn't mind the gap. I wish I did. I almost wish I didn't now, because I think sometimes you clear the air. And as long as you don't go too far, because I mean, I used to go too far. You know, I'm amazing mates with my kids' mum, amazing. But she had me in my 20s when I had no understanding of all the mindset related practices that I follow and practice now. And I was explosive, I was angry, I was so frustrated. I felt sorry for myself. Yeah, I was a crybaby, but not in like that emotional kid, when they're crying and you're like, oh, that was me. So mind the gap's the most important thing, because really all you need is a gap of time to let the anger go or the frustration go, and you can be you, and you think, all right, okay, and you can give who you are rather than the moment of anger and frustration coming out. So if you ever have that thing, someone's annoyed you, someone said something to you, you've got something at work, your kids, your partner, whatever, if you think, because what I used to always get judged on was my response. And after a bit, I started to realise if I gave a better response that was more me, I'd never be judged off it. And I'm really good at it now. But like I said, this week I failed. So it made me think about this. I'll finish on this point because, I'm all dressed for work and all that. The law of attraction is whatever we focus on, we become. And at the beginning of the week, when my chimp was out and my chimp was being frustrated, I focused on that. And that's what I found was coming into my life. And I found like the smallest things that I find joy in were annoying me. And I was finding times to let my mind drift and my thoughts go off everywhere else. And your thoughts are this most powerful magnet. And you might not have come to understand it yet, how powerful they are. Manifestation, that when you think of someone, why did they come into your life? I went to the gym the other day and thought of this guy. I hadn't thought of him for ages. Thought of him, go downstairs, he's there. Why? Is there a connection in that? I believe there is, because it happens too many times. Just be careful of what you focus on, because whatever you focus on is coming into your life. And if you're one of them people who moans a lot, and whatever you moan about, you're bringing that kind of vibration back into your life of mourning. So if you want to have happiness, focus on happiness. And if you want to have love, focus on love. And don't focus on the lack, because when you focus on the lack, you're almost creating it. Live the abundance of it, because, I'm not intelligent enough to fully explain the law of attraction process, but I can 100% tell you that A, it's worth Googling, and B, what we do focus on 100% comes into our life. If you want something to happen, focus on the positive aspects of it, and you'll notice more and more you start seeing bits of it. It's like when you're in a good mood and you go out, this good mood radiates and good things happen to you. But when you're in a bad mood, you're like a magnet for other bad things, because you're angry and you're mad. Everything annoys you. You find loads of things that annoy you. And it may be that normally you wouldn't focus on this, but in this instance you focus on it, and that's what you become. So I'll finish on I've just removed this off my WhatsApp quote, but when I was teaching yesterday, one of the kids said it, and I thought, that's beautiful that a 14, 15-year-old kid is telling me a quote I had on my WhatsApp. So that will be one day, or today. You decide. Thanks so much. I've been Christian Hoyle.